My name is Dr. Evelyn Hart, and for over 20 years, I've dedicated my life to studying how nutrition influences the aging body. As a health researcher and wellness coach for older adults, I've worked with hundreds of clients across the United States, people just like you and me who want to stay active, strong, and independent well into their 60s, 70s, and beyond. I'll never forget one afternoon, sitting with a client named Margaret, a vibrant 72-year-old who still hiked twice a week. She leaned in and asked, "Doctor Hart, is there really a difference between Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt? I've heard both are better than table salt, but which one should I be using?" That simple question sparked a deep conversation, and it's one I've had many times since. Today, I want to share what I've learned over the years, how these two natural salts, though seemingly similar, can affect your health in unique and powerful ways, especially after the age of 50. You see, as we age, our bodies change. Our bones begin to thin, our hydration levels drop more easily, and our digestive system may not function as smoothly as it once did. Something as small as the type of salt we use can make a big difference. Himalayan salt, known for its soft pink hue, comes from ancient seabeds in the mountains of Pakistan. It contains over 80 trace minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium that support bone strength, reduce muscle cramps, and help balance blood pressure. It's dry and dense, making it perfect for seasoning hearty meals like roasted vegetables, stews, or grilled meats. On the other hand, Celtic sea salt is harvested from the coastal waters of France. It's grayish in color and retains a natural moisture that helps with mineral absorption and hydration. Rich in magnesium and electrolytes, it's excellent for people dealing with fatigue, brain fog, or leg cramps. Just a pinch in your water each morning can help keep your body energized and balanced throughout the day. But here's the key. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about choosing the right salt for your body and your lifestyle. In the next few minutes, I'll guide you through the specific health benefits of each salt, common myths, and how to safely incorporate them into your daily routine. Whether you're managing high blood pressure, trying to improve digestion, or simply want to feel more vibrant, this information can help you make smarter, healthier choices, starting right at your kitchen table. As I sat down with Margaret that day, I pulled out my notebook, the one I filled with years of research and real-life observations. "Let's start with a general comparison," I said, "because while both Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt are considered natural and unrefined, they differ quite a bit in origin, texture, mineral content, and even how they interact with our bodies. Himalayan salt, with its beautiful rosy pink crystals, is mined from the ancient salt deposits of the Kira salt mine in Pakistan. These deposits are believed to be over 250 million years old, left behind by a prehistoric sea. Because it's mined rather than harvested from the ocean, Himalayan salt tends to be drier and more compact. It has a slightly crunchy texture and is great for grinding freshly over food. Its mineral profile includes calcium, magnesium, potassium, and iron, giving it that distinct pink color. Celtic sea salt, by contrast, is harvested from the coastal waters of Brittany, France, using traditional methods that have been passed down for generations. The salt is hand-raked and sun-dried in clay ponds, allowing it to retain a bit of moisture and trace amounts of sea minerals. Its natural grayish hue comes from the clay and mineral content. Unlike Himalayan salt, Celtic salt remains slightly damp, soft, and clumpy. It has a briny, oceanic flavor that makes it a favorite in gourmet cooking. Now, when it comes to sodium content, both salts are lower than regular table salt, but Celtic sea salt typically contains slightly less sodium per teaspoon because of its moisture content. For older adults watching their sodium intake, this can make a subtle but helpful difference. Where Himalayan salt shines is in its variety of trace minerals. It's often said to contain up to 84 different ones. That makes it a good option for supporting electrolyte balance, bone strength, and muscle recovery. Meanwhile, Celtic sea salt is especially rich in magnesium, which is key for nerve function, sleep quality, and blood sugar control, issues many people face after 50. You can think of Himalayan salt as the dry, mineral-rich mountain option, and Celtic salt as the moist, ocean mineral powerhouse, I told Margaret with a smile. In a nutshell, both salts offer real benefits, but depending on your personal health goals, activity level, and even how you cook, one might serve you better than the other. In the next part of our journey, we'll take a closer look at how these salts affect specific systems in the body, from blood pressure and digestion to hydration and mental clarity. Margaret leaned in as I opened a small cloth pouch and pulled out two tiny glass jars, one filled with coarse pink crystals, the other with moist, gray flakes. Let's talk about how each of these salts can actually support your body after 50, I said. This is where things get personal. As we age, our bodies start to lose efficiency. In several systems, bone density decreases, muscle mass declines, blood pressure tends to rise, and hydration becomes more difficult to maintain. What many people don't realize is that the type of salt you consume can either support or stress your body in these areas. Starting with Himalayan salt, one of its biggest advantages lies in its broad spectrum of trace minerals. This salt can contain up to 84 naturally occurring minerals, including calcium, potassium, magnesium, and iron. For individuals over 50, this is especially beneficial. Calcium and magnesium help support strong bones and prevent osteoporosis, a major concern in older adults. Potassium, on the other hand, supports heart health and proper muscle function, helping reduce the risk of cramps or irregular heart rhythms. Iron in Himalayan salt may also play a subtle role in preventing fatigue and maintaining healthy energy levels, particularly in older women who are more prone to iron deficiency. And because Himalayan salt is less processed, it may contribute to better electrolyte balance, which is crucial for hydration, especially for those who are physically active or taking diuretics. Now let's look at Celtic sea salt. It's lower in sodium by volume due to its moisture content, which can be helpful for those monitoring their blood pressure. But what really stands out is its high magnesium content. After 50, magnesium becomes even more important, playing a key role in regulating sleep patterns, blood sugar levels, and nerve function. For people who struggle with insomnia or restless legs at night, a small dietary boost from Celtic sea salt could make a meaningful difference. Celtic sea salt also contains natural iodine, albeit in lower levels than iodized table salt. Iodine is essential for thyroid function, which tends to slow with age and can contribute to fatigue, weight gain, and brain fog if not supported. So, Evelyn, Margaret asked, which one should I choose? Well, I said gently, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Some of my patients benefit more from the mineral diversity of Himalayan salt, while others respond better to the magnesium-rich profile of Celtic salt. What matters most is how your body feels, and that you use salt mindfully. As Margaret and I moved into the kitchen, the sunlight danced across the countertop where the two jars of salt still sat like little treasures holding centuries of Earth's wisdom. I could see her curiosity growing, but also a flicker of concern in her eyes. I get it, Evelyn, she said slowly. They both sound great, but I've heard that salt isn't good for you after a certain age. How much is actually safe? I smiled. You're absolutely right to be cautious. Even natural salts, rich as they are in minerals, contain sodium, and too much sodium can still strain your heart, kidneys, and blood vessels. That's why moderation is key, especially for those of us over 50. I reached into a drawer and pulled out a small measuring spoon. Here's the guideline I give all my patients. Keep your sodium intake to no more than 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams a day. That's about 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt in total. It may not seem like much, but when used with intention, it's more than enough to flavor your meals and support your health. Margaret raised an eyebrow. So I need to start measuring everything I sprinkle? I chuckled. Not necessarily, but being aware of how much you're using is a powerful first step. And here's something else. Choose salts that are minimally processed. That means coarse, unrefined crystals like Himalayan salt or moist, gray Celtic Sea salt. They contain more trace minerals and fewer additives compared to regular table salt, which is often stripped of nutrients and loaded with anti-caking agents. I handed her a little pinch of each. Taste these. Notice how much more flavor you get from just a small amount. She nodded, eyes lighting up. Wow, the Celtic salt almost melts on my tongue. Exactly, I said. That's another reason I love using natural salts. They enhance the flavor of food, so you naturally use less without sacrificing taste. We then walked through some practical ways to use them without overdoing it. I told her how a light sprinkle of Celtic sea salt brings roasted vegetables or a fresh salad to life, or how a pinch of Himalayan salt in a homemade electrolyte drink, just water, lemon juice, a bit of honey, and the salt can help with hydration and muscle cramps, especially in the summer. And when cooking, I advised add salt during the final stages of preparation, not at the beginning. That way, you preserve the minerals and avoid over-seasoning. As Margaret scribbled notes, I could see her mindset shifting from fear to empowerment. She no longer saw salt as the enemy, but as a tool, a natural ally, when used wisely. Thank you, Evelyn, she said sincerely. I feel like I can enjoy my food again, without guilt. That's the goal, I said. At our age, food should be both nourishing and joyful. And with that, she reached for the olive oil, ready to build a salad that not only fed her body but also her confidence. After Margaret prepared her vibrant salad, finished with a delicate sprinkle of Celtic salt, she looked at me thoughtfully, fork in hand. Evelyn, this all sounds wonderful, she said. But what about people who already have health problems? Can they still use these salts? Her question was thoughtful, and one I hear often. I sat down beside her and took a sip of my tea. That's such an important question, Margaret. Even though Himalayan and Celtic salts are natural and contain beneficial trace minerals, they're still primarily sodium chloride, and sodium affects the body in powerful ways. For some people, even natural salts should be used with great care or avoided altogether. She leaned in. Who should be most cautious? I explained. Let's start with individuals who have high blood pressure or are on medication for hypertension. Sodium directly impacts blood pressure by causing the body to retain fluid, which increases the workload on your heart. Even though Celtic and Himalayan salts have a more balanced mineral profile than table salt, they're not free passes. For anyone with hypertension, heart disease, or a history of stroke, I recommend strict adherence to the 500 mg sodium limit per day, or as advised by their healthcare provider. Margaret nodded. Makes sense. There's also caution for people with chronic kidney disease, CKD, I added. Your kidneys play a vital role in filtering excess sodium from your blood. When they're not functioning well, sodium builds up, which can lead to swelling, high blood pressure, and other complications. People with CKD should follow a medically supervised renal diet, which often includes very limited sodium intake even from natural sources. Margaret's expression shifted to concern. What about people like me? I'm generally healthy, but I take a diuretic and a calcium supplement. That's actually a great point, I said. Anyone taking diuretics, corticosteroids, or certain blood pressure medications should also be careful because these can affect your sodium and potassium balance. Too much or too little sodium can cause problems like dizziness, muscle cramps, or even heart rhythm issues. I also mentioned those with osteoporosis or at risk of bone thinning. Excess sodium over time can contribute to calcium loss through urine, which isn't ideal for maintaining bone strength. It's not that you need to avoid salt entirely, but it reinforces the need for moderation and choosing mineral-rich options that support your bones, like the ones we're talking about. And lastly, I added, if someone follows a diet already high in processed or restaurant foods, they're likely getting far more sodium than they realize, even before picking up the salt shaker. In those cases, I encourage cutting back on packaged foods and focusing on home-cooked meals where salt can be measured and chosen more wisely. Margaret looked relieved. So the key isn't to fear salt, it's to understand it. Exactly, I smiled. It's not about deprivation. It's about informed choices. She tapped her fork on her plate, smiling. Thanks to you, I finally feel like I'm making the right ones. As the golden afternoon light filtered into Margaret's kitchen, I could see a calm confidence settling over her. Our long conversation, woven with science, personal anecdotes, and practical advice, was coming to a close. I could tell she felt empowered, and that was my mission all along. Before we cleaned up, I looked at her and said, Margaret, if there's just one thing I hope you carry with you from today, it's this. Not all salt is created equal. Choosing a natural, mineral-rich salt like Himalayan or Celtic Sea salt can make a meaningful difference in your health, especially after age 50. She repeated the phrase softly, nodding. Not all salt is created equal. It's true, I continued. For decades, we were taught to fear salt altogether, to strip it from our diets entirely. And for people on high-sodium processed diets, that advice made sense. But it also created confusion and fear around all types of salt, including the ones that actually support our health. I stood and gently tapped the salt jars on her counter, one pale pink, one soft gray-blue. When we choose salts that are minimally processed, that retain their natural mineral content, and that we use in moderation, we're not just seasoning our food, we're giving our bodies tools they need. Electrolyte balance, nerve function, hydration, even bone support. Margaret smiled. And all this time I thought salt was just salt. I know, I said warmly. But here's the beautiful thing. As we age, small choices make a big difference. Choosing a mineral-rich salt might seem like a minor tweak, but over time, it helps preserve balance in your body. It supports your kidneys, heart, muscles, and brain. It's one of those gentle, daily habits that stack up into long-term strength. I could see her mind working, rethinking old patterns, excited about new possibilities. And one last reminder, I added, is to always listen to your body and your doctor. These natural salts aren't a cure-all, but when paired with a whole food diet, movement, hydration, and sleep, they become a valuable piece of your wellness puzzle. Margaret reached for her notepad and scribbled something down. I leaned over and saw the words written clearly in her own careful script. Not all salt is created equal. I smiled. That's the spirit. And as I stepped out into the crisp breeze, I felt hopeful knowing that one thoughtful conversation could ripple into someone's life, bringing them closer to strength, vitality, and joy In every season of aging, in today's fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the small decisions that quietly shape our long-term well-being. But as we've explored together, not all salt is created equal. Through the guidance of Dr. Evelyn Hart, we've come to understand that choosing natural, mineral-rich salts like Himalayan or Celtic sea salt isn't just about flavor, it's about supporting our bodies with essential nutrients, especially after the age of 50. These subtle shifts, like switching your table salt, can help maintain hydration, balance electrolytes, and even support heart and bone health as we age. Health isn't about grand gestures. It's about informed, intentional choices made every day. Whether it's what we eat, how we move, or how we rest, these choices matter. And they compound, becoming the foundation for vitality and strength in our golden years. If this story sparked a new perspective for you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Senior Moments Matt for more insights designed especially for your stage of life. And we'd love to hear from you. What did this story make you feel? Have you tried natural salts before? Share your thoughts, questions, or experiences in the comments below. Your journey can inspire someone else.